So we're
You
going to
don't
be
need
live
to.
any second.
Okay.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Typical Skeptic Podcast. I have my good friend Indigo Angel with me. We do shows pretty frequently. Indigo Angel, she's a content creator, but she's also like a spiritual teacher. She's a grid worker, and today we're going to be talking about remote viewing on Venus and Mars, like intergalactic relations and the New Earth monetary system, and it's going to be an interesting show. And I was just telling her before the show that I watched Jupiter Ascending for the first time last night, and I put that out on my community board, you guys. That's like soft disclosure because they have like Greys, reptilians, they have Jupiter ETs that are harvesting humans in it. It's like the craziest movie. So if you guys get a chance, go watch that movie. I was blown away by it. You know what I mean? It's a little bit. It's like like sci-fi and stuff like that. But I mean, for the most part, it seemed like soft disclosure. And then I found out I was telling Indigo Angel this as well. It's made by the Wachowski sisters. They call themselves the Wachowski sisters. The people who made The Matrix, the Wachowski brothers, they made Jupiter Ascending too. So like, it's like, what do they know that we don't know, or how are they getting this information? You know what I mean? But I'll rest at that. Indy, thanks so much for coming back on. How's it going?
Hey, Rob, it's going great. I'm excited to come and talk to you and all of my extended family over here at Typical Skeptic Podcast. And yeah, I have to, you know, second that's a good movie, I think, to watch in terms of soft disclosure. I remember watching it when it first came out. Uh, so I'll have to refresh myself. But yeah, that's a good one, I think, with, like you were saying, with the Greys and the contact with the reptilians. I mean, that's really kind of how it actually is.
Yeah, and it's weird. It's like in the movie, it's so funny. Like they have like the Greys like are reporting to the reptilians, and the reptilians are underneath the Jupiter ETs. You know what I mean? So it's like the same hierarchy that we talk about in podcast is like displayed in the movie. Like when they want something done, they send in the movie they send the Greys to go abduct this woman. And it's like they remind me of like the Markov Greys or whatever, like the real nasty ones, and then the girl, the main antagonist of the movie, Mila Kunis, she witnesses her friend getting abducted. And she takes a picture of it, and then they start to come after her. But then it turns out that she's like this. She's like a queen, really, from Jupiter, And the ETs from the human ETs from Jupiter want her dead because they're harvesting humans, and they realized she's the queen, and before she died and reincarnated, she wanted to put a stop to all this. So it was like I was like blown away by this. I was like, wow, this is like everything that we talk about in podcast. Like not just me, but everybody. Like it's like
Yeah.
people that it's like it's weird, it's strange. It was definitely worth watching for sure, and it's free on YouTube with ads, everybody. So everybody can check it out. I know someone complained on my community board. They said that they can't get it in Australia, but I don't know. I'm sure you could bootleg it somewhere or somehow. I don't. I'm not that I condone that. But yeah. But how's your summer going? What's going on?
Well, my summer's going well. I kind of wanted to piggyback off of what you're saying. The complexity of civilizations, nations, races, ET lineages being already colonized on the other planets in our solar system. I mean, I think this is really the closest thing to the truth. I mean, yeah, you said soft disclosure, but I mean, when we talk about remote viewing Mars and Venus, um, this goes back to NASA. This goes back to the Montauk projects and the Philadelphia experiments, like what these things were all about. At that time, they were basically uh, digging into space travel and opening up like wormholes and things like this. So I think they've definitely opened up space-time travel and wormholes into our surrounding planetary bodies. I know that specifically in the Montauk projects, Mars was one of the places that was considered to be, tunneled into essentially. And I guess they opened up this wormhole around there's a specific place on Mars. It's close to the pyramids. So they have some pyramids on Mars.
The
Yes,
Cydonia region of Mars.
yes, exactly. Yeah. So a lot of this, I think, comes through the Orion civilization, the Orion Stargate, the Orion nations. And I think it has a lot to do with our Earth's history that is being kept from the public. I mean, this information is being kept from us intentionally. That is what NASA was founded for. During the Eisenhower administration, they founded NASA to fake things in space, such as the moon landing, Apollo 11, and I think also to alter pictures and things like this, so we can't actually, get the actual scope of what's going on the planet.
And you actually remote viewed these places, like you remote viewed. Let's talk about this first before we get into the fact that you remote viewed Mars and Venus. This is something that you've been doing lately. I'm trying to lean over so I can talk into my microphone more because I want to make sure I'm loud enough. And if there's a problem with the audio, guys, let me know. I'll adjust it. But what I was saying was, so you've been doing this for a while with like. You've been doing remote viewing with like the people who watch your channel and stuff. Like you have a group, is it a Patreon group or like how are you doing this?
Well, mostly it's done through Gridwork. So when, I do it on my Patreon, patreon.com/IndigoAngel. Feel free to come and join me over there because every single month I do a hosted Gridworker remote mission in which that's what Gridwork remote missions are. We do remote viewing. We essentially remote view areas on Earth more primarily. Like it hasn't been off Earth remote viewing that much, but I think because I'm just so seasoned in remote viewing according to grid coordinates that some of my vision has been taking me more off planet because I get so much practice doing this. I mean, I'm doing it every single month in shared group, vision, which is definitely really opens up your psychic fields a lot. So we host the remote missions, and that's just to step into guardian roles to basically extract negative energies, correct negative energies, upgrade the land consciousness, send healing to the land, whatever has to be done. But yeah, this is kind of where the bulk of my remote viewing qualities and skills and abilities come in for sure.
That's interesting. So, what have you noticed what kind of tendencies have you picked up on Mars and what's the word I was looking for? And Venus, like, is it populated like people say it is? And like, I mean, just from what you've seen.
Yeah, what I've remote viewed is that it's so much more extensive than we ever could know. I'm also a psychic seer, so I get a lot of visions of future new Earths and things like this. So I consider myself as a vision holder of new Earth. So I was tuning into the new Earth monetary system, and this is how I remote viewed Venus and Mars. It just kind of opened up to me that I seen that Venus and Mars were completely inhabited. They were completely colonized. That they were kind of like a brethren or even like a sistren exoplanet species similar to us, like that we're kind of the same cloth or the same creed, just like in a different biological form. Over there on Mars, they're more reptilian based bodies. And they were colonized by Orion and the Alpha Draconis system before Earth even was, is what I had seen.
I got something to ask you about that. So I had my friend Dean on my show the other night. He's from Australia. He's like I don't know. He's like a psychic, but he looks into all of this stuff too. And he was saying he thinks the Orions are like a negative group. He compared them to the Wraith and like Star Trek, Stargate Atlantis, which I've never saw. But with the way he explained it is he explained the Orions to be somewhat similar to like tall whites, but like very evil. He said very evil, and he said he thinks that the Orions are in control of the Greys and the Reptilians. Like, would you agree with that, or do you think it's a little bit more complex, or what do you think's going on?
I would mostly agree with it. I want to say that there are guardian races and nations that do exist in Orion that aren't negative or bad, but for the most part, they're most predominantly dominated by negative ET factions, especially in the system of Rigel, Betelgeuse, Al-Nalam, Al-Natak. I think Mintaka is definitely a system that has more diplomacy. The Bellatrix system in Orion, it's a more softer nation, and I think more of the guardian races exist in the Bellatrix, which is the Gamma Orion. the left shoulder of Orion. But other than that, the rest of it it's completely invaded. It's where, I mean, there is an Alpha Draco colony and nation in the Rigel system. There's a Borgia reptilian colony and capital in the Rigel system. The Zeta Reticuli, hybridized Draco Anunnaki factions and lines, hybridized with Aquila factions and lines. Yeah, they're all existing and operating and functioning out of Rigel. That's kind of like the main place in Orion that they. But it's not just Orion. I mean, that's just a command center. Ultimately, what I've gotten is that Alpha Draco and the white royalty albino lines, they're deeply hybridized with the dragon lines here on the planet. So like the Welsh lines, there's another one in the Europe as well. There's Welsh, and then there's I can't think of it. It's not coming to me.
Like Nordic, like the Nordic.
Yes.
Or would those be? Would they be like more like in kin with like Pleiadians or something like that? You know what I mean? Like that's what they say, because the Nordic people look blonde, and then they say the Pleiadians look blonde. But then I heard someone say that's a ruse. Like I heard that ETs. This is another thing I heard recently, and I can't verify it, but someone said that sometimes ETs present themselves to look like more attractive, so we don't see how evil they look. But I don't know if that's true. It could be completely,
reptilians are very attractive. I mean, a lot of reptilians are. I mean, this is the allure about them. They're very magical, mystical type beings, and they have a lot of galactic intellect and knowledge and a lot of psychic abilities. They're just here on Earth, the races that they're predominantly hybridized with, they're a very low functioning Draco reptilian. So they're not too aware or that self-embodied of their psychic abilities, but they are utilizing them for predatorial agendas. So that's the thing about it, right?
Going back to that movie last night, when it all kind of put things together for me. Like, and I had an idea that this was happening, but like, so what happened was they showed like, they had these huge like containment systems in there where they had humans in with them, where they were like draining like their DNA. And it made me think of like automatically it made me think of the Missing 411, that film that David Paulides came out with, where like people go missing in national parks and then they're never found again. Some are found later. Some end up. I mean, I don't want to get gross and I don't want to get the spirit taken down, but some people get mutilated and stuff like that, or just like how animals get mutilated. So, do you think there's some kind of like as PG as we can put this, so we don't get the video taken down? But do you feel like there's some like harvesting thing going on, and if that is, like, my question is, do you think the good ETs would allow that, or is there a negative presence in control of the planet? Sorry, that's a lot. No, and I don't expect you to have all the answers, but I mean, I'm just kind of picking your brain.
Well, I think that this entire universal system is dealing with duality. I guess when I remote viewed the entire planetary systems, I seen a lot of chains and shackles that were actually tying the planetary system together. So some of the basic enslavement that we're dealing with on this planet, which is hybridization, trauma, and forced breeding, which is kind of at the core of everything here, because the planet's been mined out and has been genetically altered and designed and modified by the negative ETs originally. Like this, yes, there are, and I don't want to get it twisted, there are guardian races, right? There are beings and spirits here that work on the side of light and work for good. So it's really representing that battle of good and evil that's playing out here. But duality exists here on this planet. It also exists on Mars. I think they're more in the negative side, to be honest with you. Venus seem to be operating from the past as well. I picked up a lot of that their space-time perception was 125,000 years are past, and that their entire civilization is underground. I actually sent you some pictures.
Oh yeah, let me see if I can pull those up. My internet might move slow, but one thing I wanted to talk about with Venus is they talk about Val Thor. Like that Val Thor came here back in, like, I'm sure I mean, I've talked to Laura Eisenhower about this, and Lena Denan talks about it. A lot of people, Craig Campbell Basso, it's like a big thing in like ufology, is that Val Thor came here in the 50s from Venus, and he he saw that I don't want to say Eisenhower signed a treaty with the Greys because I'm friends with Laura Eisenhower, but I mean, I think her grandfather was trying to work against that treaty, but I think MJ12 signed a treaty with negative Greys at the time or something like that. But Val Thor came from Venus, and he supposedly wanted to put a stop to that. He was working with Eisenhower to try to alleviate some of that mess, But do you agree with all that, or what do you think? What do you think happened?
I think whatever happened, that definitely Eisenhower was, I don't know, maybe he was abducted, because he was definitely given, I think, the bulk of this exoplanetary knowledge. They choose people on Earth to get this knowledge too, for certain reasons, right? Because they have a lot of technology. I mean, supposedly the looking glass technology was handed over to Eisenhower from the Greys as well. Like, I guess all of this was recorded in something called a yellow book that they still keep to this day in Washington, D.C. in the Capitol building. So I want to say that, he was granted information to our central intelligence systems, and they were given a lot of technology. I think it was in coalitions also with the Soviet Union. I think that Russia has also agreed with some of these codes of silence, and because of that, they've been allowed to establish military colonies on the moon and also Mars already. And so I think they've known about all of this. I think that this is why NASA was established and founded under Eisenhower's administration. So we know that NASA's role has been to cover up space exploration and what's actually existing out there. So I think that there was a few campaigns that were ultimately launched, and that was to keep everyone. Why would they want Earth beings to know that we are a multi-planet species and we have brothers and sisters on Mars and Venus? Do you really think they would want us to know that if they're utilizing us for harvesting and loosh and for reincarnation and for basically to consume our life force energy? Because the value resources on this planet are gold and oil. They are not human life. Okay, and so because of that reason, they utilize the human life force energy to power their beast machines, to power their planetary weaponization systems. Why would they weaponize our planet to a point that they have total pole shift control by nuclear detonation and solar alteration and completely altering our weather? Really? Do you really trust that? You think that there's a human being on this earth that has the almighty knowledge of, yes, this is okay to go ahead and alter the weather to a point that we're causing severe storms to wipe out particular cities when we want to run a genocide through or something like this? Okay, or we want to send directed energy weapons because we're trying to take out an island because we want to get the land for ourselves to start building our subterranean bunkers and all the stuff that we got going on underground. So we have these systems, right, they've been on the planet for a long time. These species have been on the planet for a long time. And they're the ones, essentially, and their factions and their descendants and all of this that, I think it was the Orion groups that came to Eisenhower to bring him the tech, to create NASA, to get further space-time dimensional travel through the experimentation of the Phoenix projects that were done through Montauk. And, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, not to point names, Eisenhower's not the only one. He's not the only one.
Yeah, and I was going to say they're lying. It's like NASA's like the cover, because also it's not just that they're covering up Venus and Mars, but they're covering up an entire secret space program, which, like, Gary McKinnon, he hacked into the U.S. Navy computers. They wanted to give him 70 years in jail, and he found. I talk about this all the time. He found, like, non-terrestrial officers. He found ships and stuff like that, and yeah, he was like a UK hacker, and that's like our biggest evidence for the secret space program. And then also we have like the TR3B too, which is like, they say that's like they have the patents for that we have the TR3B. So we have like off travel spacecraft, but this is all propelled by anti-gravity as well, right? So like they don't want us. And I know that we talk about this a lot on podcasts, but it has to be reiterated that there's like this free energy component to all this too, that like where they don't want us to have this free energy, or but because the oil and gas companies would then be kind of like SOL, but I mean, I'm sure that I don't know. There has to be something else, because I'm sure they would find a way to monetize that too. They always find a way. They look what they're doing with like marijuana. They're finding a way to monetize that. The government is. You know what I mean? So like, I'm sure like if they came out with a free energy, they would find a way to monetize it. But like, so that, I mean, I would say they're covering up the secret space
We are
programs
their
and stuff.
source. We're their source of
And,
free energy, Rob. We're their source because we're not free, but we're their free source. It's kind of like one thing I was getting was we talk about the value systems and the monetary systems just a little bit. This comes in because this planetary warfare is over the resources in this planet. You know, what I was seeing was that they excavated all of the gold off of this planet. You think about the Draco making those hybridized deals with the Anunnaki. The Draco knew exactly what they were doing. They knew that the Anunnaki was a race line that could come down here and genetically alter and manipulate and create a slave race to mine the resources out of the planet. The Anunnaki were the Draco pawns, really. I mean, the Dracos used them. So they came and excavated all of the resources out of this planet. Think about it. Their planet was dying. Nemesis was dying. Nibiru was dying. Mars is a shithole. You know, the only way to survive on these planets is to put resources and minerals back in the atmosphere to make it sustainable, to hold the atmosphere up for life to exist. So they came here to get the resources. And I think what's sad about our system is our entire monetary system is based off of, or we try to base it off of the gold standard. Well, the gold standard and the bulk of the wealth, I think, has been taken off the planet. They've taken it off planet. They've taken it to Mars. You know, they've taken it to Nibiru. They've taken it to Alpha Draco. So they're taking our resources. And this is why we wonder why we're kind of like this, you know, species that's like a hamster running on the wheel chasing the cheese, or the rat chasing the cheese. Like we don't understand the monetary system and the money magic and spells that are put and placed onto this, and we think like it's the root of all evil and all of this stuff, but really it's because the value system has been removed from the planet. And we can't get a grip or come to terms enough with our Anunnaki history to really figure that out. We just think, like, we hear the gentle story of, oh, a slave race was created and it has nothing to do with what's going on today, when it has everything to do with what's going on today. And so that's kind of picked up on.
So here's the picture. Are the pictures shown? Oh, sorry, I didn't know. Can you see the pictures or?
Yeah, so this is kind of just some examples of what this is what, you know, me and my friend channeled, because we kind of went on this together. But this first one here would be kind of what would look like some of the civilizations being underground in Mars. I think what we picked up on was it would have been the first planet in our solar system to be colonized, hence why we picked up what they were living 125,000 years in the past, present and future, but the past. There seems to be something with our past. And we picked up that it was about 189 million years before Earth. Okay, and that it was colonized by traders and explorers and miners from the Alpha Draconis system. Also, the Ursa Major, we got Lyra, the Pleiades, the Zeta Reticuli, and Sirians as well. But we got that their entire civilization is underground, subterranean, hidden in the valleys, hidden in the rocks, across the surface. They do have really crazy windstorms on Mars, so hence one of the reasons why they would be subterranean. And then you can also compare that to Earth-based reptilian subterranean beings that came in the time of Mu in the Hyperborean timelines, essentially, that were part of the big genocide and tribal invasions from, you know, Lemuria and things like this. We know that these beings came up from underground. So it's kind of like Mars is still living in that state. Also,
these pictures are amazing, by the way. These pictures are really amazing.
This one, scroll up really quick. This one above here, down. Oh my gosh, the one that looks like a portal in the ground. Go down.
That one?
Keep going down.
That one.
This one, yeah. That this would have been the portal that was opened up in the Montauk projects, essentially, and how they can basically create this space-time wormhole to Mars and then funnel it into the pyramid system in the Cydonia region, exactly. But that's kind of like how we seen that portal to look like psychically. Go ahead and
Wow.
scroll up. The picture above it, this was Venus. So this is what we've seen in terms of Venus cities. That it's a much hotter planet. Okay, but so because of that, they exist in these like gas spheres. Like it's a very gaseous type planet, and so their civilizations are almost like protected in these bubble-like containments and containers. Um, and a lot of the forms of consciousness on Venus was very in the future. So it very much mirrored almost like the golden age of New Earth, but different. It's hard to explain that. Like it was almost like they were in a crystallized consciousness state. So the beings that are there are carry, I guess, humanoid consciousness, but they're so advanced that they're more telepathic and also without like human form. So they communicate through like crystal telepathy through like a gaseous like consciousness. It's interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. That is really interesting. I wonder. Yeah, that's really cool. I would like. One time I did a hypnosis with Maya, and I thought I went to Venus. Like I thought I met like Val Thor. I could have. I can't remember a lot of it. I'd have to go back and listen to that session because it was interesting for sure. That's all I know. It was like it was
This one
really
here.
like
Sorry, no, I'm totally listening to you. Yeah,
go
you
ahead.
should pull
This
that
one.
back up. You should pull it back up and see what like information came forward in that. But yeah, the one with the plants. So another thing that we got was the plants. A lot of our plants that we have on Earth came from Mars. Like, and it may even had come from another planet from there. But we got that like a lot of the plant life here, especially like in the Jurassic period and like the beginning, a lot of our plant life came from Mars. So they kind of brought it over from there.
That's cool. And then they're doing it. Oh, this is interesting. I got to tell you about this. So this lines up with everything that there's this lady that I have that comes on my show. Her name's Mary Joyce. Okay, and she's an investigative journalist, and she's written a book called Spy in the Sky. And what she did was she went on Google Earth, but like with Google Earth, you can also go to the moon and Mars. So you can look at things on the moon and Mars. And what she found was things like basically like what your pictures are showing. Like she found like entrance, like things that could be entrances into underground. You know what I mean? Like, and she's found like things that could be considered like biospheres on the top of the ground. And I mean, like it's hard to tell because it's so far away. You're looking at it from like, you know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
again, it's all open to speculation, but it was really interesting, and I think it's interesting that you kind of remote viewed the same thing here, like looking at these things here. These look like these could be
Rob,
biospheres, you
I can
know?
tell you that what I'm bringing forward, I haven't got from anybody else. I haven't spoken to anyone else. I haven't read anybody else's research. I mean, if I do, I would tell you, but this just came as a download. I mean, it literally just it came in so profoundly that I'm speaking about it with so much certainty. Like these planets are colonized. Like we need to wake up. We need to really
Yeah,
wake up because they're keeping us in the dark big time on this planet. They have all kinds of summits that they're doing in Dubai. They are hosting summits of worlds where worldly leaders. Okay, so the president of Mars, the president of Venus, the president of Jupiter, the president of Saturn, they're coming to our planet. Okay, and they're hosting these summits. They're having futuristic tech. I mean, I kind of looked into some of these Dubai World Summits, and yeah, what they're talking about is how, in 2117 or whatever, Dubai is going to have a full freaking military system built into Mars. Like they're going to have an entire command centers there. They're in coalitions with these beings from these other planets, and they've been communicating, coming on and off our planet for a very, very thousands of years. One of the things and one of the ways that they do it is they're coming. I mean, the Navy. I mean, the Navy is like
there is there's something that the aliens want from the people from Dubai. They wouldn't just because like they treat us like shit. The aliens treat us like shit. So like I'm guessing like the people from Dubai, they have all the money in the world. You know, I really think I watch a lot of mixed martial arts. The UFC just went to Saudi Arabia the other day, and they had an event there in Saudi Arabia, and it was like there's people from like Saudi Arabia and Dubai. They have the most money in the world, and it all comes down to they have all the oil. So I wonder if the ETs want oil for whatever reason, even though they have anti-gravity, they might want oil, or they might want gold because they still have gold in those countries too. They probably have a lot of it, you know, because they have all the money from the oil, they probably have a lot of gold, and the ETs want gold, or it's something that we don't even know about because we're not, you know, like I don't know, but like, what do you think about that?
I think that our planet has the most resources out of all the other planets. So I mean, the other colonies and the other systems, of course, they want to have deals and coalitions with the Earth beings here. Of course. I mean, it's like China and what's one of the other countries China's in? I mean, like who's dependent on China? Everybody's dependent on China. It's like everybody's dependent on Earth. Right? Because we have the resources. So yeah, I mean, I think they're at these government summits, like talking about futurism, resources, technology, innovation, and all the off-world topics of how do we keep our entire sector of the planetary galaxy under a Hunger Games type spell of not understanding that we are in a sector. We're in a sector where other colonies are being like also kept in the dark on their planets. You know what I mean? Like it's
wow.
I seen like all of these chains, literal chains enslaving the planetary system, and like some I need to break it down more, but it's some form of planetary enslavement system in which they've created. So
one thing you mentioned
was the sector would be in Saturn. Saturn.
Yeah, one thing you mentioned a lot, you talk about a lot, is the forced breeding programs and the hybrids. Like, what do you think they're doing with all these hybrids that they've been taking for thousands of years, where they've been taking our DNA and making hybrids and like forcing women into breeding programs and like, where are all these hybrids going? I mean, do you have I mean, do you think they're being used for slavery or something like that? I mean, God forbid, but you know.
Oh yeah, definitely being used for slavery, being used for more forced breeding, being used for their genetic, gene code and makeup again for harvesting and illusion and reincarnation and feeding it to, the negative satanic forces on the planet. I would say that it's about domination, control, divide, and conquer. I mean, at least in terms of the negative ETs, because these are service to self race lines. So I mean, they don't care. It's about bringing forth their species on this planet, ensuring that their species doesn't die out, that they can perfect and create different aspects that have been hybridized. They can correct their genetics and evolve their genetics here on this planet as well, right? Because where we're going to New Earth. Now, a lot of this doesn't matter on New Earth, right? Because like the planet, we are going through a planetary ascension, okay? And the beings are existing within this process, and there will be a coming of a golden age, 12,000 common era, going into the future, 7,000 to 12,000 common era. So we are shifting. These things will be alleviated when these time frames come, but we have so much to get through. I mean, we have to get through an AI technological revolution. We got thousands and thousands of years evolving here that will elevate our consciousness on the planet. The consciousness has to grow. We have to learn new ways of existing, all of these things. And this will also be done through these dominator race lines as well. Like they're going to evolve and rehabilitate through the planetary ascension process. But we exist in a time now where the controllers definitely have a very profound hand on all of this. Like they definitely have a way of suppressing it through the planetary weapons tech, right? I think that's the biggest thing. The frequency fences on the planet. Now, why we have so many different frequency fences is because they are according to the hybrids. They know what kinds of artificial frequencies will stunt the evolution of particular genotypes. You know what I mean? So
That's interesting.
They sector the planet. They definitely do things appropriately according to what they want or need. I mean, I think the Illuminati and the Black Nobility lines and the Zionists and all these types, right? All these vampirical parasitic types, they're not even close to World Federation leaders. So there's like a whole other level of planetary like
I
control.
always say that. It's so funny. I say to people, like, I say, like, you're worried about the politics, but like the politics is like, it's like surface level BS. It's like it really is surface level BS. Like, there's a whole shadow government that rules our world. That's like, that controls everything. They treat those government leaders as puppets. So it doesn't really matter in my mind. I mean, I don't know, until we start to uncover why all of this is happening, like the stuff that you're doing, the stuff that people in the secret space program talk about, people who are MILABs, military abductees, or regular alien abductees, or people who are targeted individuals. Like, once we find out why all this is happening and it starts coming to the forefront, like, then, like, and we find out who this shadow government is that runs this whole place, like, and we start to get some like liberation or freedom. I think that's when, like, things will change. But I mean, I don't know how to do that. The only thing I know how to do is to keep trying to get out the information, because I know that's important. But I mean, I don't see anybody taking a revolution anytime soon. But I mean, it's hard to do that too. Because, like, you could get in a lot of trouble for if you don't do things the right way. So sorry, I just went off on a tangent there, but I was just thinking out loud.
No, it's like absolutely right. Like, there's a reason why this information comes through how it does and when it does. I think the thing is what I've picked up for New Earth, the coming of New Earth. It's about the crystals in the planet upgrading, the race morphogenetic field in the planet upgrading, the land consciousness, the geometries upgrading, terra reformation that will occur through the land masses, the continents, the waters, the oceans, complete transformation and change. So this is something that the negative controllers, like, they can't, they can manipulate space-time, but they can't manipulate the entirety of what everything is going to be. So as things shift and change, all of these records will come back to us. We will be flooded and downloaded with the history of our true origins, where we can, the history of our planetary history, right? Like, we know that there was planetary wars. We know that the planetary wars brought and seeded the Maldek, the Anunnaki, the reptilian race lines. We know that this was an impact that occurred, the asteroid belt, all of this, right? Like, but we'll get more. We're going to get it like the first time you ever touch a clear quartz crystal and you get all kinds of records about your life and confirmation and clarity. It will be the same as the planet evolves. Humanity will receive their records back. So there's no concern, really. I guess the messages overall I get is that we just have to trust and be patient with the evolutionary processes, because as these things are upgraded and the planetary records are returned back to humanity, we understand that we're a multi-exoplanetary species and that we're colonized on other planets, and we're not just the only ones. I mean, think about how crazy that is. We've been believing that we are the only ones on this planet for how long? I mean, this is going to be returned back to us with certainty and clarity. Once we have our true knowledge, yeah, I mean, we'll be in a really beautiful ascending place here on this planet, because what will happen is the golden cities of light will manifest, the cathedrals of learning, and this is what it will be about. It will be about teaching harmonious ways here on this planet to operate in accordance to balance, nurture, nature, the organic organism, what's in the best interest of these things. Cities will transform. I think we did the show last time where we talked about what the star civilizations are going to look like and how the infrastructure is going to be built into the land in a harmonious way that it doesn't deplete or take from life force energy, because the value systems on New Earth will shift and change as well. We will no longer value gold and oil as the core identity of our standard of value. So that will shift and change as we go into New Earth. The monetary system will become a built-in organism within our biology and our psychic senses, which is crazy, right? That means we'll have such a clear vision of how the exchange of energy goes. And if things are not in alignment to the highest value of life force energy, they just simply won't exist. They simply will not exist. And this is why I keep telling people, The time is now to step into your role. The time is now to build your spiritual business. The time is now to, if you're not in a 9-to-5 matrix job that's aligned to New Earth frequencies, which God bless the beautiful souls that are, because I've met a lot of them and they have amazing jobs that are transforming the system from within. But there's many of us that aren't on that. We're doing something brainless and waste of our time and life force energy that's not aligned to New Earth. So, it's time to step into the healer role. It's time to step in, because what that is we're creating a demand for a new holistic medicine and a way of existence in life, right? These are the remedies to our true ailments, illness, and sickness and disease. It's not to go get some pills from, the corrupted medical system that exists under draconian law, and under the Baphomet order, basically, the Freemason order, the Templar order, the King Solomon order, all of this, like it's going to be free and clear. So yeah, that's why I've been kind of on my promotion hype of like, it's time to step into your roles. It's time to get this stuff going, because
you just got a really nice comment. I'm sorry. I just want to read this. This is from Zero Point Energy 3333. She says, I just got activated listening to you. She said, I see how when I only act from guidance from my higher self, I step into my power. When I ignore my higher self, I step into the matrix. That's a really good quote. I don't know. I like that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is I think we have to remember that the matrix isn't entirely bad. Okay.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of my girlfriends the other day, and we were talking about how the shifts would transform and change. And we had said, new things can't come in unless there's something to replace it with. Because if systems just die, then it's basically collapsing down things in a way that's not kind of in the best interest of all that's involved. And the universal fabric and weaving works according to that. So whatever timeline, whatever reality collectively that's in most support of the most amount of life force energy is what will prevail. So unless we have things that systematically come in to shift and change things, the old can't pass away. So that's kind of what we're doing, and that's kind of the phases we're in, as we're building the New Earth realities and to come forward. But again, we still have so much to go through, because I think AI, I talked about the AI technological revolution. I think I need to do a video on this. I don't know what it's going to consist of yet, to be honest with you, but I know that there will be a time that it won't be like Terminator entirely, but there will come a time where there will have to be reform through these things. There will have to be catalysts for change in order for new shifts to come in, for us to take the good aspects of what is organic intelligence. And this is another thing for humans to have to filter through, as well as we have to be able to not be fooled by what is cloned intelligence and what is actual organic intelligence. This is, again, the dangers with AI that comes in and comes through just a little bit. I've talked about this before, is that it's deceptive. It's deceptive. So, and if we start to base our identity off of deception, this is where society and humanity falls. It falls back again to base levels of consciousness, back to Stephen Greer calls it I just caught his video the other day. He calls it a level 0 civilization, which is like the least amount of intellect. And we're not in a civilization that's of peace and unity. We're basically in disharmony, chaos, and war. And we're at event level extinction events. And this is basically where we are right now. We're a 0 civilization. So we have to get consciousness to shift up to a level 1 for us to see the changes. Changes are already occurring, but they're not occurring to a level that there's like a tipping point. There's a tipping point that a percentage of the collective has to already be in a level 1 for the tipping point to go fully into a civilization that's more harmonious and higher consciousness based. It has to be like at least 10% of the planet. That means like 10% has to truly awaken to enlightenment. And right now, I think we're only at it's very low. It's like 1.5 or something.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. And so I see what you're saying. You're saying that you can't really have a revolution and overthrow everything, because if that would all turn to shit, that would only degrade us. So things have to be done in the right way. we have to transmute the problems in a responsible way. Does that make sense? Is that what
Yeah,
you're trying to
absolutely.
say?
And it's not the answer that people want to hear. It's because we want Nasara Jasara. We want the 3 days of light. We want a solar flare that comes in and just magically changes everything. It's not how it's ever really worked within within galactic synchronization of time.
Yes.
Within the potentials and the possibilities of our metagalactic core. So we're under many, many different layers of laws. Like you have galactic law, you have cosmic law, you have universal law, you have planetary law. So everything is filtering down through these systems of balance and checking. Again, like making sure everything is in the highest timeline of what is most collectively going to suit the life force energy. So it's like we have to understand our processes here and become in alignment to those. We have to get in harmony with them so we can. All that's going to take is for us to get in alignment with our processes and patience and positive thoughts about it all, essentially. And that's what will happen on New Earth, is because we'll become so telepathic and aware of how our thoughts are creating our reality. Our thoughts are dictating our quality of exchanges of relationships. Our thoughts, like it's all like it will become so crystal clear in New Earth that the barter system and the monetary system won't even really need to exist. A lot of this will be manifestation by thought.
Wow.
So, yeah, monetary system, in terms of the fiat, that will be gone. We will no longer need fiat.
Yeah, that's amazing. Should we take a couple questions? What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys have any questions, you can start putting your questions in the chat, and then we'll get to that. But before we get to questions, is there anything else you wanted to cover while we're waiting for people to put their questions in?
I don't think so. I'm just, me, I can just ramble off.
Well, do you want to talk about your event again real quick? That's always interesting. I'm trying to get to it. I know I have to go to this conference in July 1st, which I'm trying to get ready for now. But then after that, I'm going to try to focus on your conference or whatever. And I'm going to try to make it to that. So,
Glad if you make
it's going to be amazing.
Hawaii, that would be a miraculous thing. Absolutely. I would be just like so honored to have you. Well, that's still going on. We're still preparing to go to Kauai, Hawaii. We're doing some due diligent work, I think, on the backside of things with making connections with locals and making connections with other social organizations that can support the mission there more. Also to get our permissions and just, make sure we have all of our ducks in alignment for us to go to Kauai, which is open to grid workers and those that have taken my Gridwork facilitation course. I definitely encourage all of my graduated facilitators to join me in Kauai, because we do need those that are skilled grid workers to be coming, because this is a big mission. Kauai is an inner earth gate clearing. So we're going to be this is a deep earth cleansing. It's probably one of the biggest grid worker healing things I've ever done. So it will be one of the biggest missions I've ever done, which is exciting and thrilling and exhilarating all at the same time. So if anyone's interested in attending this, they can find that at learn.indigoangel222.com and start to kind of get the intel of what it's all going to consist of. I also have my 6-month business coaching package where I'm going to meet once a month with individuals who may be wanting to start those spiritual based businesses and start to step out of their 9 to 5. Like if anyone's teetering on that, I need to get out of the matrix and I need to start aligning my life to my soul mission and my soul purpose financially and energetically, emotionally, in terms of your manifestation and all of these things. So I'm going to be coaching and tutoring individuals for 6 months. It will be meeting once a month to do that. That you can find at learn.indigoangel222.com as well. You'll just have to look under all my courses. I have basically an entire school for people.
Wow.
On my website. Yeah, I have many, many courses that I've already done. Implant and seal removal certification, Gridwork Facilitator certification, other types of womb healing and clearing courses for women, also building inner resilience and strength, like how to kind of overcome and activate your tribal warrior codes. I have a whole bunch of stuff. I have a wealth of knowledge at my learn.indigoangel222.com. So I have a lot of offerings for everyone. Yeah, tell me what you need.
Yeah. I'll get to the questions. That's amazing. I'll get to the questions. I figured this would be an interesting one first. This is from Simo. He says, and he means this in a really good way. He says, this is a bit off topic, but he says, I'm curious. He says, what do your kids think of what you do for a living in New England? Do they think it's cool, it's weird, or what? Like, do they have an opinion?
Both, yeah. I mean, they do have an opinion. They think it's cool. I will catch them sometimes, like, listening to me. So, if like, not a lot, but occasionally, like, they'll hear stuff if I'm working with a client or if I'm doing it live or recording, and they absorb a lot of it. And then they ask me questions about it later. Like, they definitely want to know. They question how I know what I know. They don't understand, like, how I have all this information. They don't, like, understand. They haven't seen all of the depth of my ascension over the last 10 years. You know, they don't know exactly. They know I've been through things. They've seen me go through ups and downs. They don't understand that it's ascension and descension. They don't understand, like, because it's not a physical experience for them yet. My kids are, like, awakened to information, but they're not awakened entirely on a soul level just yet. Do I think that my kids will kind of hit that point somewhere in the future? Yes. And I think there's a reason why they're my children. It's because they have a mother that's just really out there on the next level, filling their brain all of this in the unconscious and subconscious parts of their mind and field for it to be applied later in their path in the future. So, but yeah, they think I'm weird too. I mean, there's stuff I say. I mean, last night, because I've been trying to get them to stop eating McDonald's, I told them that there was human and rat DNA in McDonald's burgers. So unless they want to be cannibals, they better not go to McDonald's.
That's funny.
They're like, Mom, are you serious? I mean, they get, so.
That's good. That's really interesting. Okay, this is a good one. This is from Derek Galloway. He says, "Who's the most advanced alien race? Do you feel? Do you feel it's like the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the Alpha Draconians, the Orions? I mean, there's so many, right? I mean,
it's hard to measure that for sure. I mean, we know that Alpha Draco and the Anunnaki seem to have dominated this planetary solar system. Does that mean that they're most advanced in terms of their intellect? Probably not, because they're doing it through force. They're doing it through conquer and divide. They're doing it through force breeder programs and hybridizing people, like abduction programs. So in terms of God consciousness, they're not, I guess they're not abiding to, the attributes of God, and the virtues and things like this. So I would say in terms of higher evolutionary intellect, they wouldn't be the highest intellectually speaking. They just have predatorial weapons. It's really hard to say. I mean, they're all advanced in their own way. Arcturians are technologically advanced. Pleiadians are spiritually advanced in terms of healing. But the Pleiadians have been subjugated, I think, under the most forced breedings with these other race lines. Like, Pleiadians are definitely, I think they've been victimized the most by the negative ETs. It just really depends. I mean, and each lineage has had their time to shine on this planet. I mean, the Syrians really made a dent during the Atlantean time. The Pleiadians, the Hydrons, the Cassiopeans, they all came here during Mu, in the motherlands of Mu. So, I mean, it just kind of depends when their race line seeded and why and for what reasons they came here on this planet particularly. I would say Andromeda is pretty advanced. Yeah.
Simo says about your McDonald's quote. This is hilarious. He says McD's is generally gross, but man, I can't get enough of those fries. I think everybody that way. When you go past McDonald's and you smell the fries, it's like But I like more like amusement park or carnival fries better. I think that would be like a better thing for summer. But I mean, it's interesting though for sure. Like, sorry, I didn't mean to go off topic. I just wanted to put that out there. Like. This is a good question. This is fun. I think this person missed the beginning of our talk because we talked about this in the beginning. And she says this is 0.energy 3333. She says, does she remote view? Who does she remote view with? Solo, or in a group, or open to join, or RV for hire. I don't know what you mean by that.
Well, I do it solo sometimes. Sometimes I just get downloads. I mean, with Mars and Venus, it was literally just like it was like a whole seed package just that came in, and I seen everything at the same time. It wasn't like, and then I'm like, okay, since it opened up, then I go in and explore it more and start to remote view it, and then I bring my friend in who we brought it in and started channeling more. So it was like I got it all, but it just depends. Like if I'm doing grid work, I'm selecting locations that I'm intentionally trying to remote view to data collect, basically. That's done solo and done in groups. It just depends. I've done solo remote views when it comes to the Vatican. This is how I knew that they took all of the gold off the planet, is because the Vatican had a reservoir of over 2,000 to 4,000 years worth of gold that was given to them from the Roman Empire, from Constantine and all these emperors. Okay, and all that gold, they took it out from underneath the Vatican. I think they took it to Mars. So, I mean, you can do it by yourself. You can do it in groups. If you want to join my group work, I do grid work remote view sessions. Basically, my next one's going to be on 4th of July. And that you can find on my Patreon. Yeah, you should join me, Rob. Oh my gosh, it'd be so fun. Yeah, we're going to do a clearing for the U.S. grids. So it's going to be a big one. I think it's going to be great because if you think about what they've done to 4th of July, I mean, I think it's an excuse to just go get hammered and have a one night stand, or I don't know, I tell you, when I lived in Colorado.
Usually what I do.
When I lived in Colorado, we would walk up to the park for their 4th of July festivities. And it was the saddest thing I've ever seen in my life. Literally just drunk people falling everywhere in the streets, falling everywhere. I mean, thousands and thousands. It was a sea of drunk people like I've never
seen before. I don't drink at all. I mean, maybe every once in a while. Like I went the other night with my friend to the bar and we had like one drink, but that was it. Like it bothers I have this problem with my liver going on. So every time I drink, it like hurts my liver. So I feel like I'm just not meant to drink, I don't know. I don't know. So it just doesn't agree with me.
Well,
I'll be doing podcasts on 4th of July. I have podcasts. I have like, I think 2 or 3 shows that day, so I'm not going to quit just for that day. I just, I keep going.
Yeah. I think the work is more righteous if you're doing things that are aligned to truth and like getting information out than just like, because that's a harvesting. I mean, these holidays are to harvest. 4th of July it's a big satanic holiday.
Yeah, it is. It is.
They're just there to loosh everybody, really.
I mean, I think at one point it really meant like the United States independence. I felt like at one point it stood for something good, but now with the way things have been inverted in our world, I think that's the good point to make. The way they invert everything, you know what I mean? It's like when somebody would be performing a concert, but underneath the concert they're performing a satanic ritual or a Super Bowl or something like that. Like everything's been inverted. Does that make any sense? Or
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it has. It's really, oh man, like I mean, that's what we're going to work on in the U.S. mission. We're going to work on cleansing the satanic energy off of the U.S. We're going to work on clearing the dark monetary system. We're going to work on clearing some of the karma from the British Crown and everything we went through with claiming our independence from the British Crown. I mean, we channeled some stuff the other day about U.S. piracy and the ship of the El Mosquito ship. Like, we think pirate persecution is something we have to clear as a nation, because we've persecuted all of the piracy, but really the pirates were the ones fighting for the freedom against the British Crown here in the U.S. And so I think there's a lot of hidden history of things we just don't know about. A lot of us were those pirates in past lives fighting for the freedoms, and then we talk about the Civil War, and which they're trying to propagate under. Okay, there's a movie you need to watch next, Rob. You need to go watch the new 2024 Civil War movie, where there's definitely an agenda, where they're trying to show us what civil war in this country is really going to look like. if we rise up against the government or we rise up against the Federal Reserve, because and ultimately for this whole thing to transmute and transform, to get rid of inflation, taxation, abolishment of counterfeiting, of fiat tyranny, they're going to have to find a beautiful replacement for the Federal Reserve, because this is what this is what is guarded in the force field of Baphomet.
Yeah.
And we decoded that through our Gridwork when we went there on location in Washington, D.C. We literally seen Baphomet in the rails of the U.S. Treasury building. We took pictures of it because we couldn't believe it. We were like, holy shit. Baphomet's face is they built it into the architecture of the rails guarding the entire U.S. Treasury building.
Wow.
What the heck?
That's insane.
Right.
Wow.
Well, because it's all black magic. It's all money magic. The U.S. dollar, all the Freemasonic symbolism that's on it, these are talismans to worship the Freemasonry, the Templars, the negative monetary system, Baphomet, all of this. So every time you're dealing in cash, you're dealing within dark, satanic money magic, where you're using these talismans basically to keep the power stuff in play. It's just another form of submission, just like a satanic ritual abuse thing that they do like at the Super Bowl, or they do in the tunnels for CERN activations and things like this. Same thing. It's just done on a daily level, and we don't think about it too much.
I agree. I'm seeing if there was any other questions. Oh, someone asked about ESETI Ranch. Emma the Cat asked about She said, what do you guys, here it is, the question. This will be the last question. She says, what do you guys think about ESETI Ranch? I was thinking of visiting there this summer. I think you could, if you go there, you're definitely going to see something for sure. You're going to see UFOs. Like, everybody that goes there sees them. But I mean, I don't know what the human politics is like, the people there or anything. I heard that James guy's a decent guy. I've never met him, so I can't vouch for him. But I know everybody that goes there sees UFOs. Everyone. They all see like the ships like powering up, and I don't know how it's so good there as compared to anywhere else, but it's really, you can really, it's like it's definitely.
Yeah, well, we have a lot of ETs down here in Pensacola. Like, we have a ton of ET sightings down here. I mean, down on the Pensacola Beach and Pier, it is technically a landing zone. It's an ET landing strip, that pier. They have the whole light system activated, and it comes on at night, and they're running like lights out into the waters for ETs to land out in the ocean. And then there's even a portal system that goes down up underneath the pier that goes into the Typhoon funnel systems that connects into the Star Force systems and the dark military zones here on down. That's why Pensacola is naval aviation. Like, it's like one of the main naval aviation bases in the U.S. And it's, so they call them the Blue Angels and stuff, but there's a lot of ET stuff that's going on the side. And they're pretty open about it. I mean, they kind of make fun of it. I mean, we have all kinds of extraterrestrial type things down on our coastal beach. Like, we have an ET putt-putt golf thing where it's like big spacecraft. They have all these like things like out there. Like, they know that ETs are down there, so they make them feel welcome. I mean,
oh yeah, I think down close to you was the Gulf Breeze sighting back in the 90s. There was a huge Gulf Breeze sighting. It was it was something that when it was ongoing. It's a classic UFO sighting. They call it the Gulf Breeze or something like that. And then I was going to say, what else was I going to say? It just slipped my mind. I can't remember. But yeah, I know that. I was going to say I'm going to be down there. I'm going to be at St. Pete's Beach, July 15th through the 18th for the Full Disclosure Now conference. We're supposed to do night watches at night. We're supposed to do UFO night watches. I think Misha Johnson's going to be running it or something like that. It's going to be interesting for sure. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm a little bit nervous, to be honest. I'm a little nervous.
Well, the night watches are awesome. I think you'll like it.
I'm nervous for the conference because I have to run the live stream, and I got to get with Brian because, like, I know how to stream to my YouTube and my Rumble, but I'm no master at this stuff. You know what I mean?
Are you going to have to simulcast? Is that why?
Yeah, and then also he said he's gonna have me like when I'm not doing the live stream, he wants me to go around the crowd and like conduct interviews with like some of the speakers and stuff like that. Which that's awesome. That's what I do every day. I don't mind doing that. But like the live stream, I feel like once I get it figured out, like I'll be okay. You know, and I think there's a live stream team, so I think there's going to be other people there to help me. I would hope. Well, obviously, if he's having a conference, he's probably going to have camera people and everything, so it's all probably going to be connected, right? I mean, like, I don't know. So, I don't know.
But you never know. I mean, how organized he actually is in terms of having the extra help.
I know, right?
Yeah. So you might want to take your own camera stuff if you have anything, just in case, to catch, like, because I know, you know, what's really great to walk around and do filming is at least have something that you can hold your camera out. So if you have to film yourself or you have to, you know, get shots yourself and things like this. Yeah.
That's what I want to do. I want to get footage for my own channel. I want to get footage for my channel too while I'm at this con. You know what I mean? If I want to do side interview, I want to get it for my channel too. You know, like that's the only thing I can think of. I don't know how I'm going to balance the two out. I mean, I was even thinking about while I'm there, like doing podcasts at night, so I don't like lose that because one of the ways I do well is because I mean I don't do well, but I mean it helps me if I do more podcasts, you know, because I get paid for my audio podcast too. So I mean, like it's I don't really want to take a 4-day break. I know that. Like
I think you're going to find how easy it is to actually hit the road and do some filming on the road and still be able to maintain your business, because technically you're in a remote job. I mean, you can actually you can go down and rent an Airbnb down in Florida. You could stay down there for a few weeks and just work down there. I mean, I've done it so many times. I mean, all of my traveling. I mean, I've taken my business with me to Algeria. I've taken it with me to Egypt. I've taken it with me, and I'm doing it overseas. And you do have to work a little bit better, but you let people know like you're still available for your regular things. I mean, these are the days you set aside for it. As long as you have somewhere to work and you have internet service, I mean, you're golden.
That's a good idea. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, it's going to open up, I think, new possibilities for you, and you're going to maybe get to start traveling more and all that. I think that would be really awesome.
I hope so. I mean, the two events I'm looking to do is I'm looking to go to this one in July, and then I'm looking to come to your event in Hawaii, like, you know, which is going to be amazing. Like, I can't believe you're going to Hawaii. Like, you know, do you have a lot of people signed up so far, or how's that going?
Yeah, I have a handful, right? But the deadline cutoff for sign up is the second week of July if you are going to stay in the room and board with us. So I did leave that option. And the only reason I have to have that cutoff date is so that way I have a head count for the booking for the main stay, basically. But
someone could still get an Airbnb or something like that, like last minute or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. If someone else wants to join and they just don't want to stay with us, the booking's open until basically the week before we go. So it's just how quickly can one, you know, book a flight. The thing is it's a big commitment to go to Hawaii. I mean, it's for some of us, it's a 13, 14-hour flight. It is an island type environment. So this is going to take a lot of us out of our comfort zone, what we're used to. But I think when people understand the importance of the mission, which I'm about to put a video out about this on my channel really soon, maybe in the next week, kind of going in through all of the layers as to why this mission is going to be so important and why it's going to be so impactful for global healing. Yeah, I just believe in it so much. Like we're being called for a reason. And so those who are key coded to come, you know, those who are meant to come, if they understand how we're getting to the core of the original separation wounds that happened in Lemuria, a lot of the fragmentation wounds, sexual gender splitting, all of these things. Like, we have so much work to do down there. And we're excited. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Wow. Well, this has been amazing. I thought this was one of our best shows. I say that sometimes, but I thought today was a really good show. I thought it went really well, you know?
Yeah. Well, I feel like we always have good shows. Yeah. Mostly.
Yeah.
But today, Well, I think there's more for us to uncover around this. And what's interesting is me and you actually seem to be pretty in alignment with the information we're getting. I don't know if you noticed that, but when we meet up, we're like, I'm spitting all this stuff and you're spitting all this stuff. And we're like, whoa, we're totally on. How are we even? Because we're not even keeping up with each other in terms of intel throughout the month. But then when we meet up, we both have intel that aligns. So that's kind of interesting to me.
And that shows you what's going on is very real, I think, you know? I think it's like what's going on is very real. And it's like, because sometimes I question it and I'm like, is this all really real? And then I'm like, and then I get hit with like some like evidence, and I'm like, wow, this really is real. It's all, I mean, and then I think that's just because I'm not an experiencer myself. But I mean, I could be, and I don't have memories. I don't know. But I mean, I just don't. I mean, I've woken up with bruises on me. I've woken up with abduction marks or stuff that I could say it is, but I've never really said anything about it. I don't know. I just don't, you know, I don't.
You probably just have more memory sheaths and blockages around the pineal that have to be released and removed. Have you had J seal removal or any form of seal removal ever? It might be something you want to do or look into, because seal removal does really release like the holographic blockages within the memory, within the DNA, within the body for more things to come forward.
Yeah, I want to do that. Yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't think of that. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
I mean, it depends. If you wanted to work with me to do it, definitely. We could remove your J seals, remove your Draco seals, remove your divine masculine sexual implants, or even feminine wounding implants as well, just to like clear any separation between your masculine and feminine body. Deep chakra clearing as well, like kind of get to the core of entity removal. I mean, it depends what's going on. I mean, and we could figure that all out too. We could figure out how extensive is your implant system. And a lot of that comes up just by starting to remove them. So we would just like open up your field, start some psychic surgery, start removing persecution implants, and just see what are we finding up underneath that. What are these things connected to in the body? A lot of times you'll find it's connected to the ailments that you have. So like the liver pain, where these seals and implants are located, a lot of times they're the reason for the pain in the first place. And your body's just giving you the symptoms like, hey, it's time to like get rid of this, energetically speaking.
And a lot of us feel you're going to be shedding this stuff eventually anyway, right? Because it's like the new. It's kind of like what you said, the new Earth we're going into. It's like the new. It's like the new. I don't know. Is that kind of what you're trying to say? It's like we're going to be transmuting up this energetically. Anyway, we're not like we need to do it. Is what I'm saying. We need to. We're all going to need to do it. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think if you want to accelerate your human experience here, and you don't want to be held back by a lot of the binding and limitations. I mean, speaking of the spiritual business stuff, like when I first removed my J seals, I think I quit my job within a week after that and just went full on in entrepreneurship. You know what I mean? And so it removed all this enslavement, unworthiness that I seemed to had attached to those memories, those records, the original modification or manipulation and hybridization trauma that I had. So it gets to the core of these things, and removes the wedges and the seals that are placed to allow the energy to flow within your body, to heal the ulcerative type wounds that are there, and also allow you to understand your value and how your importance, and see things from a much expanded planetary observative type lens, where you can now master this human and reprogram this human according to what sources of higher intellect you're connecting with. Hopefully that's God and source and creator, the eternal divine. For most of us, like some of us, we feel like we're connected in with who the heck knows what creates all of the fear stuff, all right? But yeah, get past that fear, because really at the end of the day, everything's kind of existing up underneath the source or the creator. So yeah, it's it's a lot of work, but it's worth the self-improvement, because you improve your quality of your spiritual existence.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, that's amazing. I got to do that. I do have to do that for sure.
Yeah. I think J seal, Draco seal removal would be huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should do that.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do it. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Do you want to tell everybody where they can find you? And thank you so much for doing this. This was amazing. It was it's always it was this was fun. This was really fun.
You can find me at IndigoAngel222.com, and you can subscribe to my YouTube channel at IndigoAngel. I also just started a TikTok. That's been fun. I don't know, Rob. I see you're on TikTok as well. How are you liking that over there?
I don't post much on there. I sometimes I'll take clips from my interviews, but I don't really know how to manipulate the videos and shorts like that. So I can't. I'm not real good with it yet. But I watch your videos when you post them. I follow you for sure. So
Okay. it's a different vibe over there, more like for the 10-second toms of the world. But I think you get more algorithm reach, I noticed with that. So it's been fun for me to kind of put content over there. But my YouTube channel is the main thing. And then my website, and subscribe to my newsletters as well, because I send so much out in writing all the time. Just all of this information drops that I get, I usually put it in writing and share it with everyone. So for those that maybe can't digest the video version of this, because I talk really quickly and I have a reputation for delivering a lot of word salads. So I say, if you can't take me on the video, read my writing, because it's going to upgrade you.
I agree. I mean, you're able to put out a lot of you say a lot of amazing stuff. It's sometimes I have to go back and re-listen. You know what I mean? Like I'm just ending the live stream on Rumble because like I'm ending it now because I don't want to forget. They make you end it when you end it. Like I'm ending it on my phone because if you don't end it, it'll stay live. So like I'll end on StreamYard, but it'll still keep going on Rumble. Or I mean, you know what I mean? Like it'll somehow. So like, and then people be able to see all the stuff I do behind the scenes. I'm just kidding. Like, no, you know what I mean? Like I don't want people to like see me like. Like I'm getting ready to go for a run and I'm like changing my clothes and like everybody's like, I didn't realize I'm still alive or something like that. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
That would be ridiculous. Like, like I don't know,
That's the funny thing. Everybody's like, go jump in your pool. I'm like, what do you want me to leave the video here on live? Like, go jump in my pool. And so I'm all in the background.
Yeah, this isn't OnlyFans, people. Indigo Angel OnlyFans. You're like thousands of levels above that. You're so smart. Like you're like amazing. You're intelligent. Like I was just, but like.
Oh gosh. And OnlyFans it would be a wrecking ball in your reputation for sure. Oh my gosh. Yeah. No way.
I know. I was like, someone said that to me. They're like, you should do a OnlyFans. I was like, what? I was like, I don't know, nobody wants to see my ass on OnlyFans. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not.
For a second though, Rob, didn't it?
I was like, I don't know. I mean, if they want feet pics or something, I can do. My feet are nasty though, so I don't know.
You probably have a lot of ladies that follow you and appreciate your information and knowledge and sense of humor. And I don't know. Do they have like a PG-13 OnlyFans where you could just do like hangout sessions or something? I don't know. I mean, but that's what our Patreon.
I think it's all like Playboy Centerfold stuff. You know what I mean? It's all like crazy, like underwear and feet pics and like nudity and like it's all like it's very pornographic. You know what I mean?
I've never gotten on it ever. So I don't know. Yeah.
I can't either. I watch UFC, and like the female UFC fighters will put out an OnlyFans, and I see like in like when I watch MMA streams, like the guys will be talking about like how they all went to this female fighter's OnlyFans, and I'm like, how could you pay for that? That's ridiculous. Like that shows you've never had a girlfriend or something like that. Because like I just could not justify like paying for like to see. I don't know. That's pretty pathetic.
It's sad because it's so much exploitation of.
It is, right? That's what we're trying to get away from. Like sex is sacred.
Yes. Oh my goodness, it makes me really sad for like our young girl collective. Like just so much with that.
Yeah, because people realize they don't have to work anymore and they can just do an OnlyFans, but they don't realize it's corrupting their soul. It's like you might as well just sell yourself out for porno. It's the same. It's the same thing. I don't know. What do you think?
New age sex work, the oldest profession in the book.
New age sex work?
Yeah, new age sex work.
What's that?
Prostitution and all of that. That's like the oldest profession, they say. I mean, really, stemming from the forced breeder programs. If you want to get into it, we could do a whole show on that. But oh man, all I know is I'm keeping my daughters away from that stuff as much as possible. I mean, if they do stuff behind my back and I don't know about it, that's another thing. But we have a lot of conversations, I think, on a daily basis. Like, your perception is what's going to call in a mate. So if you're walking around looking like you're letting all your stuff hang out, looking too sexy, your booty cheeks are hanging out, your titties are hanging out, you're gonna get guys that's what they want from you. So if you dress in a way that is respectful and you hold yourself in a respectful way, you're gonna call in somebody who's gonna be more respectful. So
and unfortunately, that's how they get their heart broken, because a lot of guys, they just want that, especially at that age. Like if they, I don't know how old your kids are, but I'm guessing they're teenagers, and that's what, unfortunately, like when guys are like, you don't understand, when guys are that age, they're like sex crazed. They're like, it's all they think about, because, or at least that's what was all I thought about. I mean, like, because it's like you're coming into like puberty and you have all these hormones, and like it's almost like you don't know what to do with it. You know what I mean? So it's like, a guy to like have sex for the first time, it's like the most important thing. Like I think I had sex for the first time when I was 15 years old. If that, I mean, but that shows you we were living in a different time too. So you know what I mean? Like, I mean, the girl I had sex with was 15 as well, or maybe she was older. I think she was 18. I think, but like, it's still, it shows you like what's on kids' minds. It's. I'm not trying to scare. I'm just saying, like, I know.
It's hard for them. It's hard for them because they get such an inundation of it all the time. It is such a regular. It's an open, acceptable, regular behavior. It's like
I know, right?
culture has lost respectful boundaries. I mean, boys are just so openly. I mean, at least with the high school, anyways, what I've noticed. I mean, very openly sexually provocative and even demanding and even peer pressure. So to be a girl and like all you want to do is be accepted and be cool and fit in, you lose that virginity card. I watched a thing.
That's not fair to kids. That's not fair to kids who want to stay, who want to keep themselves, like, I mean, like, I was different. Like, I was raised, like, I grew up like in a town in Pittsburgh where like I don't know if this was the same for you, but like I smoked weed when I was 15. I might have smoked weed I smoked weed when I was 15. I drank alcohol when I was 15. I took acid when I was 16. You know what I mean? So like I was not programmed right, but I grew up in a different time. It was the 90s. It was like weird. It was like things were more open. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Like it seemed like things were more open. Like now there's more of an internet culture. Like which it might be a good thing for the. I don't know. I was gonna say it might be a good thing for like, kids not like being around each other as much, but like I don't know. I felt like it was a more freer time when I grew up. Because like we didn't even have the internet. We had just like campfires at night and stuff, and you find you get, and that way you do get exposed to a lot of like not good stuff at an early age, but at the same time you get friendship bonding as well. So there's goods and there's like pros and cons to it. You know what I mean? Like you meet people at an early age and you bond and I don't know. Does that make any sense or no?
Absolutely. The kids really struggle these days with isolation.
Yeah.
And then they rely so heavily on the parents to entertain them, distract them, provide for me. Like, I'm not getting what I need. I'm not getting entertainment. I'm not getting bonding. I'm not getting friendship. So it creates also more insecurities and fears, social fears, and dysfunctionality in terms of society, and having to overcome more phobias of even trying to go out there and make something of yourself in the world within the matrix, because it's just so cutthroat, and there's not a lot of nurturing of the emotional and the psychic needs and development, which is at the core of their soul, the core of their identity. So the core of them is never truly seen. It's never truly reflected back from them. And basically people are in a constant state of oppressing themselves, and so it's such a negative reversal pattern. It's just like, I feel really bad for my kids being, I think, in this Gen X generation. It's a lot more difficult for them, even financially as well. Like, I can't kick my 18-year-old daughter out like they did in the olden days and say, go get your own place and your own job now. There's no freaking way. She's going to be living here until she gets through a lot of stuff, probably mid-20s, until she attains an actual, like, good paying career. There's no way she'll be able to afford.
That's nice that you're nice enough to do that. Some parents don't even think of that though. I mean, it's sad to say that some parents don't think of that, but I mean, like that's good. Well, nice enough that you're able to. I mean, my parents were like that too. They let me stay at home. You know what I mean? I bounced around from college to college. I never finished college. I never got a degree, but I just because I got into a mortgage career early. I worked my whole 20s as a mortgage broker. From the time I was like 21 until the time I was 30, I was a mortgage broker. I went from telemarketer, which was like the lowest man on the totem pole, to a senior loan officer, Wells Fargo Financial, which is pretty good, Like, and then when we had the recession in 2009, I got let go and like shit went to hell. But I was lucky to have a career early, and then my 30s were kind of like, it sucked. But yeah, it was interesting for sure.
That is interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I did dental assistant all through my 20s to 30s. 20s, 30s, that's a dental assistant. So yeah, we've both worked in the matrix world. I mean, and we're examples now of people who have stepped out of that and kind of embarked on our own entrepreneur and career path. But it's a fight. It hasn't been easy. We've sacrificed.
It's not easy. It's not easy for sure. I know that. Yeah, it's not. Like, it's like money's always so up and down. You know what I mean? And then it's like, but it's weird though. Like, it's like, I feel like when your soul's aligned, because there'll be sometimes where I'll be like down to no money, like no money, and then all of a sudden I'll get a donation or a payment will come through or something, like something magical happens. It's weird, and I don't want to jinx myself, but I feel like maybe that's because I'm on my soul's purpose.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe I finally found my soul's purpose, so the universe is starting to finally look out for me. If that makes any sense. You know what I mean?
That's absolutely it, Rob. That's so perfect. I'm so happy you said that. And I'm so happy that happens for you. That's how you know. Yeah, that's how you know. Like, keep going. Like, this is supported. You are on the right path. The financial abundance keeps supporting the dream and the vision. And that's what I want for everybody else. That's what I want for every single person watching who feels like it's time to step into their path of empowerment and, free themselves from the binding of the enslavement and the shackles. Like, don't work for a boss that doesn't value and appreciate your life force energy.
And usually they treat you like shit too. That's what I mean. Like, because I had some like trauma in my 30s. Like, I went through, like, I think I might have told you about it. I don't know if I did or not, but I went through some really bad trauma, and then I had to take some shitty jobs in like my late 30s, like before this all happened. And I was treated like garbage, like, because I couldn't find a job in mortgages. It wasn't working out, so I had to just take anything. And I was working in like warehouses and like, doing like in construction sites where people try to have like bullshit attitudes. I get into fights, you know what I mean? I'm in like my mid 30s, like fighting someone on a job site. You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell is this shit? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to deal with that again. I don't want to deal with that ever again. Like, because I would always stand up for myself. I would never let someone talk shit to me because, like, and I might have lost jobs over before, but I mean, like, I won't let someone demean me or put me down in any way. I don't know.
No, I totally get it. Same with me. I left dentistry because I got tired of dealing with dentists, narcissistic, ego, maniac, psychotic personalities, all like revenue driven, and just like they really, the indoctrination in which they go through is just, it is, oh my gosh, next level satanic. I'll tell you what. I met a dentist in his fraternity. He was indoctrinated into like satanic Baphomet worship, and so literally on weekends or whenever he's doing his rituals, he had a room just for doing 150 Yahweh rounds and another 150 Baphomet rounds where he would worship these entities and spirits. I mean, these were the goat fuckers. These were the goat paddlers. These were the ones that were doing the real heavy rituals in the fraternities. Like, this is what our entire like medical community is kind of founded in. And I don't think people realize it, but I seen it firsthand, and I was just like, holy shish kebabs.
Like, that's insane. I never realized that the dentistry industry was so sadistic. It's like,
it's bad.
I mean, like, when I did mortgages, it was bad, but it was more like a soul. It was more like it was extracting your soul because they wanted us to sell all the time, and they didn't care what it was. They wanted you to give the person the deal, and if you didn't get the deal, then you could lose your job. But I always managed to give everybody a good deal. I'm not giving myself credit, but I never put someone in a bad mortgage or, like, I never did anything unethical, but it's still like, who wants to be under that kind of pressure,
Well, it's just interesting. I mean, not all doctors. I mean, it's of course it's the individual and like the integrity in which that doctor has and holds. But unfortunately, they do go through a stripping, an indoctrination. They go through a programming for the pharmaceutical to be pharmaceutical sales reps and things like this. So they all come out with a similar mindset and mentality that they have to then kind of overcome as they also become business entrepreneurs, because a lot of these dentists get out of school and then they have to go open their own practices. Some of them can't afford it, but some of them can. And then they have to try to apply those things ethically within their own practices. So some of them fall. I've seen some dentists be really bloodthirsty. I'll tell you what. There's this one gal I worked with who just loved to rip people's teeth out, like unnecessarily. I'm telling you, like the blood did something to her. She smelt it and she just would to the point that she almost had a malpractice suit because she almost killed the guy. He almost bled to death. He was on blood thinners.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yes. So, I mean, that's not one of the dentists I worked for was a meth addict because he was so smart and all the stuff he learned in the pharmaceutical stuff, he learned how to make meth. Okay.
Yeah. I remember a comedian saying once, he said drug addicts are some of the smartest people in the world because if you ever, like alcoholics will learn how to make alcohol, cocaine addicts will learn how to make cocaine, or meth addicts will learn how to make meth. Like some of them are so smart that they'll go the extra mile and they'll actually learn how to do this stuff. I have a friend, I'm not going to say his name, but he learned how to make alcohol. Like he has a still in his house and he goes down south and he makes alcohol. I'm like, dude, that's insane. I could never even, and it's so scientific, it goes into it. It's like he's telling me about how he has to measure this and that. And I'm like, wow, holy shit, man, that's crazy. I could never even start imagining how to do that. That's some next level shit, man.
That's some chemistry stuff, yeah. But I mean, and I could tell you the dental industry was where I experienced the most sexual harassment as well, because I can't tell you how many dentists just were inappropriate with me on so many levels. Trying to use the power card over you because you're the assistant. I had a sexual harassment suit with one of the places that I worked, actually, because the doctor I was honestly bullied by the other doctors to try to get with this doctor. It was just I don't know. It's just weird. They cross a lot of boundaries, and a lot of the assistants end up sleeping with the married doctors, and they usually try to target the hygienist as well for sex as well. There's just it's like everything that plays out in humanity that's corrupted, it's playing out on a micro level in the dental office, basically.
You should do a documentary on it, or you should do a whole. You could really go deep on this stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's I feel like personally it's a corrupted industry. Are they helping people? I think they are. I mean, they are fixing teeth, but then there's this also this component of it where it's they say that a lot of the illnesses that we deal with, like neurotoxins and things like this that come from the leaking of mercury fillings, also the bacteria and the viral component of having a root canal, like a dead tooth sit in your mouth for the next 10 to 20 years, that this isn't actually good for the spiritual immune system of the body. So I don't think that they have a handle on true knowledge when it comes to what tampering with things in the mouth is truly doing, long-term longevity of life.
Yeah, I know. I had to have my whole top teeth here, the top, they're all redone. It's all molded together and bonding and stuff like that. It looks decent now, but it's still it was crazy. And then Penny Bradley told me that she said they go after targeted individuals' teeth. They say that when they beam B2K in your ears, it goes into the bones of your ears, and that affects your whole bone structure of your face. So it's obviously going to affect your teeth. I'm not saying I'm a target individual. I'm not sure. I don't know. I know some really weird stuff happens to me, but I've interviewed some real target individuals, and I don't know. I don't know what I don't know why they're doing what they're doing to people. It's crazy.
Well, I think you're probably protected, for a certain reason. a lot of the reasons too why maybe some of the memories entirely and just like the entire understanding of it all. But it could be that you're just being divinely held in a certain way. So that way, I mean, you are seeing the effects of things, but the more severity of it isn't, you know, you're not traumatized by it. So I think you have some guardians and some guides that are definitely looking out for you. But
I hope, I don't know, it's, I hope, I don't know, but,
but
well,
yeah.
we
Oh yeah, we should do a show on dental corruption. Oh my gosh. Yeah,
that would be so funny.
oh, that'd be hilarious.
We could do a whole show on it because we just talked for like a half hour about like our past, and then I didn't even realize it was still going on, like. And I have to go for a run still. I'm supposed to go running because I have another show at 7 tonight, and they're in like 2.5 hours, so I don't have much time. I got to go run. So, and if it isn't raining, I don't know if it's raining here in Pittsburgh. It was supposed to rain at 2, but then it did. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So, but I have a treadmill downstairs, so I can use my treadmill. I might do that, but it's just cold down there. The air runs, and it's like really cold, So
Yeah.
I have to wear like layers.
I think you also got a donation. I think Woo Rider maybe sending you a donation.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That's Derek. He's a good friend of mine. He knows he doesn't have to send me anything. He's a really good friend of mine. We talk offline. I don't know him, I haven't met him in person yet, but I mean, we talk and text each other and stuff. He's like a bro. You know what I mean? He's like, I know him really well.
Yeah. Well, hey Rob, I was wondering maybe you could get me a copy of this and I'll post it on my channel.
Yeah, I will. I'll try to download it, and I'll download it and send it now before I work out. Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
All right. Would you want to tell everybody real quick where they can find you again? And since we kind of, and
we went off topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys can find me at IndigoAngel222.com. You can find all my courses and events and coaching packages. These are at learn.IndigoAngel222.com. And yeah, come subscribe to the channel, Indigo Angel on YouTube as well. I've moved over to doing more lives, so I do lives now at least once a week. I've stopped doing as many recordings. My main focus has been going live. I just like the engagement, I like the interaction. Yeah.
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 It's fun. People get to ask you questions and stuff. I like it too.
Yeah. It almost makes the old way feel boring.
I know, right? It does. It's better to have that's why some people get like 90 people for their lives, and I'm like, I get better guests. I don't know how I sometimes get that, and sometimes I'll get 90, 100, 150, but usually it's around 40, 50, each time, 60 maybe. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I have to do to get more live viewers.
I know. Well, I think YouTube is oppressing us. I think they took their hit on us over the last 6 months of like reducing our outreach.
I think so too.
Yeah, it's frustrating because you work so hard, you're so committed for so long, and then you just get shitted on by YouTube. So
I know.
I think it's more exposure. Honestly, I think the name of the YouTube game is you have to get more exposure on other people's channels. Like you have to expand, you have to network. If you're not networking, you definitely are not going to get the growth.
Oh, I got to ask you, how did Spaced Out Radio go? Or do you not want to say it live?
Went really well. Yeah.
That is good.
He was super cool. I mean, I liked his vibe and I liked how he interviewed, and I wonder if he would ever have me back. It seemed like they got a lot of good comments from people like, oh, you should have Indigo Angel back, but I haven't heard from him yet. So maybe, I don't know, maybe he reaches out. I kind of got the feeling that he wanted me to live channel, but I didn't know that. So I was just like talking, but when I went back and watched it, I seen that he prompted me a couple of times to channel, and I'm like, oh, is that what he wanted? Because if that was the case, I mean, I could have did that. I just didn't know. So maybe.
Well, I was wondering if you might be too much for that show, because you come with a really heavy dialect of like information. So I was like, I wonder if you're, but I mean, like, because you're pretty advanced, So
yeah, no, I recognize that a little bit too, but it's still fun. I like it's like it's a wow factor, maybe, right? Like surprise some people.
Yeah. Well, this was awesome. I'll send you someone just said they loved you on Spaced Out Radio. You'll be invited back. So
Oh, awesome.
Kiera, I am, said that. So that's amazing. I'm happy.
Is Kiera friends with him over at Space Out
I
Radio?
think she's a viewer. She watches it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, let him know,
Yeah.
you guys. Tell him to bring me back.
All right. Well, I'll send this to you now, and then I'm gonna go for a run, everyone. And all right. And I think I'll be back tonight for another video, guys. So, all right. Thanks, Indy. I'll talk to you.
Okay,
I'll talk to
bye,
you soon.
everyone. Bye, Rob. Thank you. Have a good
Bye.
day.